All right, guys, welcome to another episode of Elevated and Chill. It's your boy CJ on the scene, tapping in with you guys for another session. You already know what we came here to do: to chill, laugh, but most importantly, as always, is to catch a vibe. I appreciate you for pulling up, home team. And now let's get into it like we always do with a vibe check. Checking in with me. Everything is going good. Definitely had a burst of energy this week. Work has been okay. Went back to dance. Dance was great. Had a great class on Tuesday for sure. I'm taking beginner classes just to get me back in, and then I'll eventually start creeping up into like the more advanced classes. I think in dance now I'm in a place where like I could fluctuate between beginner and advanced. So it's good that I could do both, definitely hone in on my basic, but also learn new stuff at the same time. So that was good. Gym, I just been hitting cardio a lot just because I feel like lifting weights a lot was kind of like, bones were kind of achy, and stuff like that. So definitely kind of stripped that down. Went back into the cardio mode. But that's been good. So went 4 days a week went 4 times this week. So that's pretty good. Uh and just overall, just keeping up with my, my mental and stuff like that. I got had therapy this week. So, therapy is always a great way to start the week for me. It gives me kind of like that boost of confidence, and knowing that I kind of did like a emotional dump. But therapy is always amazing. Getting all this content out for you guys, as well as getting back to working on photography, as well as hitting the ground running with my certifications as well for my career. So a lot of things going on this week. I know I threw a lot at you guys, but overall it's been a very positive week, and just trying to keep the positive mentality going moving forward. Home team, let me know how you guys are doing. Drop it in the comments. We're a community here, so we're always, you know, we got to stick together and help each other out. Uh, but got the revisiting the last time is now t-shirt, with John Cena and stuff like that. Feel me? Had to rep today, judging by the fact that we just found out recently that he is hosting WrestleMania. So I had to get back into the nostalgia bag real quick. Also got a fresh cut. So you already know, home team, my confidence is to the roof every time I get a nice cut. So I'm looking very davishing. So that gives me kind of boost of serotonin as well. And it's also been nice outside too. So a lot of things are going on this week that just make me overall happy. And most importantly, I'm happy to be back with you guys. So that's kind of my vibe. But since I brought up John Cena hosting WrestleMania, we got to talk about it. WWE, Raw. First off, uh, the major thing is I my key takeaway from Raw was one. Basically, Stephanie McMahon told Cody Rhodes that he ain't shit. To be honest, that he's not a killer. Obviously, for me, home team, you guys already know Randy Orton to me is the greatest heel of all time. He just has like that demon, that cerebralness to him, that coldness, that he doesn't care type of vibe. Do I think Cody could tap into that bag? Yes, but I don't think the way he's going in WWE that they're gonna allow him to tap into that bag, because we've seen in like other independent wrestling promotions that he was in that bag, he was in that heel bag. But now, the way he came into WWE, now he's a strong baby face. And to be honest, like if he were to turn heel, it would be a great shock. But I honestly think it'll do his character arc a lot of justice. Judging by the fact that Kevin Owens, John Cena, Randy Orton, now they're all turning their back on him. So I just think like when you really think about it, he can tap into that bag, but judging by right now, no, he's not in that bag. So Stephanie McMahon told him that, and obviously, I think it kind of put him on noted, like, yo, listen, I need to get into that dark area that Randy's in, so I could really live and defend this championship and walk out of WrestleMania in Vegas as still the WWE championship. So I don't know. I feel like if he could really do some, you know, talk to the voices in his head a little bit, maybe he could come out with a W. But I think he might end up losing the championship to Randy, and then kind of that will build up like a SummerSlam kind of vibe. So we'll see. But I think Stephanie Man coming out talking to him at the top of the show, and then like as you go down the road, you see the Seth and Paul Heyman kind of you know front confrontation. Seth is cleared, and then we get Gunther versus Seth. And for me, it's just like where is this coming from? Like, is this an ultimate play to kind of retire Brock Lesnar? Because we see Brock Lesnar and Oba, they're having their match. So does does like, and we also understand that Paul Heyman's role with Brock is strictly business. That's their role with each other. It's only strictly business. That's why they could come back and they could be together again, in terms of like having that managerial relationship, a managerial like wrestler relationship, due to the fact that it's always been about business. Something more. He's an advocate. It's not like with Roman. Roman was more like a family thing. Like, you was the wise man. Like, this is my family type of thing. So I don't know if I could allow you easily back in. Well, with Brock, it's always been a business exchange. So I think with Brock, Paul Heyman doesn't mind turning his back on Brock. I mean, he doesn't have mind turning his back on anybody. But for him, it's like, all right, now this is kind of a way to get Gunther back up there. So maybe this might be a play of, all right, let's kind of have that Seth and Gunther route, and then ultimately setting up Gunther retiring Brock. Big question mark. I don't know. That's a plausibility, which can't happen. But I think the big thing, and actually, and it's the same thing with SmackDown, which I'm gonna go into how SmackDown went as well. Um, I just think the big thing about wrestling now is like there's a lot of stories being out there that it's like, where is this coming from? Like where is this fitting? Like, I could see the vision with pun intended, with uh the whole Brock and Gunther, but my thing is just like how exactly does it fit into, like, how are we gonna develop that? But listen, I'm not a booker, so Triple H gotta figure it out. But um yeah, I think those are the outcomes with Raw. I think the good thing of that Triple H did do was step in the Oba versus Brock kind of like face off, because I think Triple H stepping in makes the match a little bit bigger now, because it's like, whoa, if Triple H is stepping in, it's like, all right, like this is this is a big time thing going on here, Brock versus Oba. So I think that kind of elevated the match, because not even me, I'm like, oh, like, I just hope Brock doesn't really go into WrestleMania and actually like just demolishes Oba. I just hope Oba actually Brock puts Oba over and then sets up maybe Brock versus Gunther down the road. So that's kind of my theory. There's a lot of theories with Paul Heyman. Where does he stand? With the Vision and all that stuff. Obviously, the Vision also won the tag team championships, so that's kind of like another thing as well. So, I'm interested to see where things kind of fall post WrestleMania in terms of all these segments going on, which kind of leads into SmackDown. SmackDown everybody's wondering who was on the phone, who was talking to Randy. We finally found out that who was on the phone with Randy was Pat McAfee. And again, where does this like where does this make sense? Like where does this make sense? Like where do you put Pat McAfee here? And don't get me wrong, I think Pat McAfee as an announcer and him coming into wrestling, you know, I think he knows what he's doing. I think, he's very, keen about the business. He kind of worked his way up. I really think he's a big, he could be, he's not like a random celebrity coming in and like doing whatever it takes or whatever the case may be. I really truly think that he is about the business. But it's just like, come on, like I was expecting like The Rock, even his dad. That would have been fire. His dad pops out of nowhere, like whoa, reminding him who he is. You know what I mean? Because Cowboy Bob Orton was with Randy Orton when he was in the what you call it when they were facing um the Undertaker. So it's like okay, like I could see where this could fit in a little bit. I could see where this could fit in where Cowboy Bob Orton is like, all right, let me remind you who you are. You know what I mean? So I think I think I think pertaining to that, like, we weren't really expecting that. Obviously, Pat McAfee did come up, and it's like, all right, cool, no problem. Was not. Then he went on his promo, and it's like, all right, cool, calm, cool, whatever. But again, where does this fit in? So like, where does Pat? Is he gonna come out with Randy Orton? Like, are him and Randy Orton like a faction now? Like these are all questions that I think us as the viewers are all watching. So there's a lot of explaining there to do, but kind of going down the show as well. Lil Yachty came in with Trick Williams, and it's like, you know, I'm not really against the whole oh well celebrities shouldn't be in wrestling. I just think like now you're oversaturated. Like you got Jelly Roll there, now Yachty's coming on, and it's just like yo, like where do they fit in this story? You know what I mean? Like okay, like you know what I mean. Now all of a sudden, like at the end of SmackDown, Yachty and Trick Williams are beating up on Sammy. Sammy. It's like and where exactly are you fitting in Sammy? Now he just won the United States Championship, and that's fine. But like, it's kind of odd where you just dropped the belt to him from Carmelo Hayes, who's been really a fucking really great United States champion. And that would have been dope having Trick Williams versus Carmelo Hayes, judging by the fact that they were rivalries in NXT. Carmelo Hayes turned heel on Trick Williams. So I mean, like when you like, I think that would have made sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, because you've been having Sami Zayn fight for these championships, but then you're gonna tell him like, all right, now you're gonna put the US like it's just where are we going? Like, where's the direction? Where are like what's going on here? Is my question and also everybody else's question. So home team, drop it in the comments. Let me know what your take is on SmackDown and Raw. Let me know your opinion. As always, love to hear what you guys think about it. Another thing, again, like it just adds in, celebrities being in the WWE. Is that a pandemic now, or is it good for the brand? I think from an economical standpoint, because now you're taking like a Lil Yachty, a Jelly Roll, and like you're getting their audiences and kind of now bringing them to WWE. Yeah, from a business standpoint, but like I've been watching WWE since I was young, and it's like for me, knowing the product and knowing these, knowing how WWE is, I don't want to see Lil Yachty and Travis Scott coming down in WrestleMania and doing what? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think when Mike Tyson was in it, I think that made sense a little bit. You know what I mean? Yeah, like you had like little like Floyd Mayweather popping, Snoop Dogg, but the thing is, just like I just feel like every week is a new star, you know, and a new celebrity is there, and I just feel like it's getting oversaturated. So that's just my opinion. Obviously, from a business standpoint, I get it, but also, but like you're losing core fans. Like I'm kind of in this. I'm kind of like, yo, what's going on here? Like, what's really going on? Like, I'm a core fan. I've been watching, like I said, I've been watching WWE since I was young. I was a, I was literally a fanatic about wrestling. So now it's like, I want to see the wrestlers. I want to see the wrestlers. Like, I really want to see who's a star. Like, I want to see these stars get developed. You know what I mean? Which kind of like segues into another like topic of discussion for WWE is, does WWE have a star problem, or are there too many stars? And for me personally, I just think there's like you got Roman, you got I think you have guys that are of that caliber superstar. CM Punk is a great, phenomenal, I would say a superstar. Cody Rhodes, even though like I have like my, like pearls against him or whatever, with him or whatever the case may be, he is the biggest babyface in WWE right now. So I think like those are stars that you guys have. But at the same time, like where's the young talent at? Like we got all these like I think Drew McIntyre, if not a star now, is on the brink of that stardom, that being that superstar. I think what he was doing with the belt was very amazing work. You know what I mean? Um, Jacob Fatu coming in, like, is he the next star? You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like WWE has like that gap of like, yo, like, who's next? Like, we got all these older superstars, and that should really be the discussion. Like, you have these older superstars, but what about the younger, like Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, Trick Williams is also pretty good too. Carmelo Hayes, you should have been developing him. Like, you know, when Randy and John Cena came into the WWE, John Cena fought Kurt Angle for his match, right? Then he fought I believe is he fought Big Show, and Big Show dropped the belt to him. Big Show's been in it, at that time, Big Show was a premier player in WWE. And then he went on to face JBL, who's having a hell of a run as and that character arc that he was doing as and he won a WWE championship. That was his first, WWE championship. And Randy, you paired him up with Evolution, Triple H, not Shawn Michaels, Batista, and as well as Ric Flair. And then now you gave him the Intercontinental Championship. Then he becomes the World Heavyweight Championship. So like, where is you developing these people? You know what I mean? Like a Carmelo Hayes, Trick Williams fighting for the United States Championship. That's a dope experience. You know what I mean? Like that's a good opportunity for him. Where are these younger talents that you get from NXT? Where are you placing them in these championship runs and developing them as superstars? Because now your superstars that you have right here are older. And Javon Evans, I think Javon Evans is a great high flyer. I think he's very charismatic. Obviously, he has a lot of work to be done, but I think he should be in the Intercontinental Championship conversation, which I believe he is in WrestleMania. So shout out to him for doing that. Dominic Mysterio, he's a young guy, and he got the Intercontinental Championship, and we all were happy for him when it happened. So I think like it's more so of like, where are you going with these younger stars, and how are you gonna replace the older stars that they're getting older and they're performing well, but what happens when they leave? Like, where's that gap at? So I just think that there's more filling in, like I guess you could say the legacy of, or the passing of the torch. You may say, if you will. I think that's really what it is. Like, where are these guys from NXT kind of going the next step to fill in, to break that gap of where's the torch going to be passed. So I think that's the question now. Where is the torch going to pass? Home team, let me know what you guys think. Drop it in the comments. This is an interesting topic. You know what I mean? I want to see the WWE flourish. You know what I mean? Because I've been a fan of it for years. But again, let me know what you guys think. What would you guys do if you was a booker? Chilling ass segment approaching right now. Uh, and you guys been great with this. Very interactive with the questions. So shout out to you guys for for your great questions and asking me and stuff like that. It's really been a nice conversational going on between us, the whole with you guys. But for the number one question that you guys proposed that you sent was, who's the one superstar carrying WWE right now, and is it even close? And this is a two-parter. Second part of the question is, are long title reigns making things legendary or predictable? Wow. Um, I would say for me, if I really had to say one superstar, it's gonna be Roman. It's either Roman or Cody. I think either one of those two are what's carrying the WWE right now. And I'm leaning more towards Roman because when Roman had the belt, it was like a legendary run. Like it was absolutely insane. Like what he was doing, the work he was doing, the bloodline, and how even the bloodline still exists right now is like, yeah, that's like 2020. That's 6 years of storytelling at its finest. So I just think like, and what he's doing right now to build a product and take part in these different type of like rivalries and stuff like that. And every time his music hits, it's like, yo, crowd goes insane. It's absolutely amazing. Obviously, like Cody's there, but you know what I mean. Like, I feel like when Cody gets the belt, it's like, whoa. But I think when Roman won the Royal Rumble, it was like, oh shit, Roman's getting that fucking chip back. Roman's getting that belt back. So let me hold up. Let me hold up. Because Roman, he's in that mode right now. So I really got to give the nod to Roman. And will I say it's close? Nah, it's not. It's not close right now. Because like the amount of aura that Roman has in the WWE right now is absolutely it's off the charts. I don't think nobody can match it right now, to be honest. I think that stars have their aura, but like he's in that zone where like he could pick and choose on where he wants to go, and when he comes back, everybody wants to see him. So for me, it has to be Roman. It's definitely Roman for sure. The second part of the question, are long title reigns making things legendary or predictable? Um, it I'm a little like in the middle because I feel like if you have a long title run and if it makes sense, then fine. But if you have a long title run and like you're facing like nobody, it's like, all right, this is kind of getting me. I felt like honestly, I think Roman, what he did with his reign is he made it interesting. He was fighting a bunch of people. Um, I think Cody just like didn't really have that many like bangers as when he first got the belt. He had a banger with John Cena to win the second time, but I just think a lot of his matches weren't like, I was like, yeah, like what's going on here? Like, you know what I mean? So I would say like if it makes sense both ways. If it makes sense to make the like John Cena had a bunch of short title reigns. But like for example, when he won the Elimination Chamber and Edge cashed in, like even though I was like, fuck, like damn, why'd you cash in Edge? But at the same time, like it's like, all right, like now it helped John Cena to take him to that that next level. You know what I mean? Him versus Randy. You know what I mean? Like I just feel like it depends on where, like how you take it and how it propels the product. I think that'll be my answer to that. Great question. For all my other home team, drop it in the comments. For all the members of home team, drop it in the comments. This is a great this is a great two-part question for sure. Uh, Second question. What matters more in the NBA, the regular season dominance and or playoff performance? Oh man. I think home team, you guys can tell me my answer on this. It's easily playoff performance. I don't care about the you could you could drop 100 points a game and it falls short in the playoffs. Because ultimately, what you're doing as an athlete or whatever you do in life, you're here to win. You're here to win. There's no other way around it. You're here to win. So if you're having an abysmal playoff performance and you're a star caliber player, we need to reevaluate where you stand. And when we talk about giving you that title as a star player, because if you're not performing in the playoffs, like what are you doing? What are you preparing for? Like Tom Brady, Michael Jordan, LeBron, Kobe, you go even put, Derek Jeter. These guys are all preparing for the championship. They're not preparing for, oh yeah, like, yeah, I'm gonna have the best regular season. Or even Steph Curry says it. He went 73-9 and lost in the championship. He ain't playing no games. He playing no games. He wants to win that ring. So yeah, this is player performance by a landslide, and that's been my my ideology for a long time. As an athlete, you're here to win. Simple as that. So yeah, home team. Let me know what you guys think. Well, but my answer is solidified. Third question. This is a funny one, man. This is I don't know who's in the comments with this, but whoever you are, this is absolutely hilarious. But are the New York Yankees legit contenders, or is the hot start too early? And it's too early. Like the New York Yankees, like they always do this, and it comes from their star player, Aaron Judge. We put a lot of faith in Aaron Judge, and he's historically come up short in every single big moment. So he needs to do something. And I'm not saying it's only on him, but all the players around him. And I just think, yeah, we start off hot, but again, it kind of loops me back to the previous question. What you do in the playoffs? If you're making a run in the playoffs, what exactly is going on there? Like, how are you, how are you as a team talking about what is the ultimate goal, and that is to win a championship? So yeah, it's too early for me. Too early for me, man. I've been through this way too many times with the Yankees where they get my hopes up, and all of a sudden I'm heartbroken. I'm not being heartbroken no more. I'm tired of being heartbroken. You guys broke my heart too many times. You know what I mean? It's bad enough that I got to deal with the Giants. Now I got to deal with the Yankees, and it's just like, bro, I just want a New York championship to come. Is that fucking hard? But anyways, yeah, I just think it's too early. Uh, Kind of keep it in the realm of sports. The NBA. The NBA is winding down, getting into the playoffs, and I think right now is a good time to assess who is the top six awards of MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, six man Coach of the Year, Rookie of the Year, and Most Improved. Uh, for me personally, if you really want to get into this, when it comes to MVP, for me personally, I think it has to be. I really think it has to be Wimby. I just think like what Wimby does for an NBA team is like ridiculous. Cause like it's not even his impact on. It's his impact not only in the offensive end, it's his impact on the defensive end, and like he just is an overall great presence for the Spurs. And not to mention the Spurs are a well in the top three seeds in the West. So I mean, like And not to mention again, like they beaten the fucking they beaten the Thunder multiple times. And I'm not saying, like I said, I'm not saying anything can happen in the playoffs. But if you're talking about strictly the MVP, this is really what it is. Like I think it's Wemby, hands down. I think Wemby got it, in my opinion. But home team, let me know who you guys got for the MVP. Uh is it Shea? Is it Jokic? Is it potentially, Ant Edwards? I'm going with Wimbyana for sure, 100%. Let's see what we got here. Let's see what we got here. Defensive player of the year. Who do I have for defensive player of the year? And it's Wimby. 1000% Wimby. Again, like what he's doing on the defensive end, like he's averaging 3 blocks in a game. You know what I mean? Like I think he alters everything for the Spurs defensively. You know what I mean? Like, I just think he just the guy's a freak of nature, to be honest. Like he's 7'5", and it's like the the Spurs have the best defense. They're allowing only 103.5 points per 100 possession. That's fucking insane, and that's because of him. Again, no brainer here, Wimby. No brainer here, Wimby, 100%. Six Man of the Year award goes to CJ's. Six Man of the Year goes to, I don't know. I haven't really been following the six mans, but I did my research a little bit, and it says that it's between Keldon versus uh Hami Yaquez Jr. You know, uh I'll probably go with Hami. I think him coming off the bench is very key for the Miami Heat. Even though I feel like Keldon Johnson, him coming off the Spurs has been probably a help and their top three seed. But I just think, generally speaking, you know, that that kind of that Hami really is important, is a very significant important to the Miami finding their culture. But yeah, I think we'll with Hami on this. I wouldn't be mad if Keldon won either. I think it could go either way. But I do think like if you're talking about a six man, I think Hami is a more important six man to the Miami Heat than Keldon Johnson is to the Spurs. Not saying that Keldon Johnson isn't important, but I do think obviously Hami is a little bit better. Uh, Next award goes to Coach of the Year goes to, and it has to be JB Bickerstaff. Like I think how he's turned around that Detroit team has been absolutely remarkable. K going down is very much it sucks, but at the same time, like how he's able to take a team that literally was begging people to go to the game and whatever the case may be. Now they're first in the East. I don't know if they're first right now, but they were first in the East when K was playing. I think it's absolutely remarkable what he's doing with that franchise. So JB Bickerstaff by a landslide, which kind of goes into my most improved is Jalen Duran. I think Jalen Duran. I kind of knew he would be this player just judging by how he is as a player, but he's averaging he's really upped his points and rebounds and all that stuff. He's at almost 20 points per game, almost 11 rebounds a game. So he's really for being 22 years old and to increase his rebounding and points to that level, and averaging a double double, you gotta really like, you know, give him the nod to this. He was an all-star this year. Um, Kind of like in the running is Denny. Denny's in the running as well. I think then he should win. No, but I think Jalen Duran, but I think if he does win, I could see the where he would win. But I'm going with Jalen. I've been a huge fan of Jalen Duran, so shout out Jalen. Uh, yeah, and that's my vote for six man in the year. I mean, I'm sorry, most improved. Home team. Let me know who you guys got for all these awards. These awards could go either way. To be honest, you never know who really is gonna win, but I think I think I got a solid. I think I might go like maybe like 4 for 6 on these awards. We could revisit this when the results actually come out. But I think I'll go 4 for 6 on this. But it's kind of crazy how like the NBA has kind of opened up more awards. Like they have like the Clutch Player of the Year, and awards like that. Um, for me, you know, I think the two are Shot and Ant, but I think if we're talking about overall like clutch gene, I would probably have to go with Ant. But I'm not really a fan of all these other awards, to be honest. Like it's like, all right, like it's just kind of like giving people the award, even though like I feel like if you're clutch, that should fall into the MVP category. That's just my opinion. But again, home team, let me know what you guys think about the NBA awards, and we will be diving in, definitely with the NBA playoffs, and kind of getting more insight onto where the you know playoff, who's gonna the matchups and all that stuff. We'll definitely get into the nitty gritty about that when the playoffs happen. But kind of wanted to assess where we're at with these awards. MLB is rocking and rolling. Talked about it last episode, but I think the big thing here is Shohei. Shohei Ohtani, you guys, which I thought was interesting, was brought up that is Shohei Ohtani having the greatest all around impact ever. And honestly, I think Shohei Ohtani, generally speaking, might be approaching, or if he's not already, because you got Barry Bonds up there. I think unanimously he's the greatest baseball player of all time. But when you look at Shohei Ohtani, he's definitely approaching it. And judging by the fact that he has 2 rings now, I just think his impact on the batting side, on the hitting, he could pitch. He's a dual threat. And he just be hitting bombs. Uh, he pitches like it's secondary. It's like I don't know when you have a dual threat like that. It's crazy and to me, he's the most fascinating player ever to me in baseball. So I think like for him personally, yeah. I mean, he started a rocky in the beginning, but I think when you're a player like Otani, like you're bound to catch a break and catch your groove and stuff like that. So, you know, yeah, I think he is having the greatest all around impact ever. And what he's doing for the Dodgers, like, it's like you just have a guy that, like, all right, cool. Like, obviously you got Mookie there, but it's like really having like KD and Steph. It's like KD is gonna do what he gotta do, and KD's probably the better player, but then you have Steph who has provides that leadership, and it's just like an overall like yeah, like this Dodgers team is literally like the Golden State Warriors when they had KD because you got Freeman, you got Mookie, and you got Shohei, and then on top of that you have all these other players. So it's just like yo, listen, man, the Dodgers are going in. The Dodgers are looking how the Yankees were back in the day. Let's just put it point blank like that. Like they got a lot of money to spend. They're getting all these pitches. They're getting all these like big time free agents, and Shohei was one of them. And I think like the showcase with Shohei is like, look, if you got a player like Shohei Ohtani, you give him whatever he wants. It's literally as simple as that. You literally give Shohei whatever he wants because he's a generational talent. It's literally as simple as that. You know, the Angels didn't do anything with Shohei, and that's why he's where he's at. You know what I mean? And I think the Dodgers were like, all right, cool. We got Shohei, but we also have Mookie, and we also have a bunch of other players that can really play baseball. So I think when you look at the greatest players of all, the greatest baseball players of all time, obviously, like, you got to put Barry Bonds up there. I mean, what he was able to do hitting wise, but I think Shohei is approaching that, especially because now he has two rings, and he can hit the ball, he can pitch the ball. So I think overall, like, yeah, Shohei is Shohei is doing that thing, and I just think you know I think the crazy thing is that he has a 0 ERA. You know, he's an early contender for the Cy Young Award. Um, he just came out of his hitting slump. He hit a bomb yesterday. Uh, he's maintained a 36 game on base streak, the longest active streak in MLB. Um, you know, he's back and healthy. So, I think when you got a player like that, yeah. Do I think like he should focus on one outlet of whether I should be a hitter or a pitcher. I think either one he could do amazing. But I mean, we all love to see him go up a bat and hit that ball and hit and and just and be a hitter. I think that's where he's the most dangerous, to be honest. Like, and it's kind of ironically, like, I think Barry Bonds said it the best. Like, if he could pitch 2 innings or whatever and be a relief pitcher, fine, but put him as a batter. Simple as that. People will be scared of him, walk him, like, cause he could hit that ball. It's crazy what he could do. So, yeah, I think we're getting to that point where, like, we're not really taking him for granted. We're realizing, like, this guy right here is probably the greatest baseball player of all time, and he's approaching it. So, and the Dodgers gave him a bag, literally give him a bag. So, shout out the Dodgers for stealing Shohei, and overall, shout out to Shohei. You know what I mean? Um, has the game shifted back towards athleticism? And I think, yeah. I mean, I think what you have in the MLB right now is a lot of athletic players. You know what I mean? Two-way players. Shohei's being one of them. There's a lot of enhanced training, speed and power is very heavy in the MLB. Even guys like Aaron Judge, who could play, who could hit the ball, but also play the field as well. Um, it's just, I think athleticism is very prominent in the MLB right now. I mean, you have a lot of guys who are just faster, stronger, more versatile. And granted, like, it is a proponent towards the not a proponent. It does kind of coincide with the fact that technology is getting better, and technology, the training that these guys have and the facilities that the guys have, that the players have, are very enhanced, and they could help them a lot. But at the same time, like, you also got to have that raw athleticism and talent. So yeah, I think generally speaking, yeah, I think athleticism is extremely back in the MLB. Have we seen it? Back, since I think a little bit further, like we started seeing it around, like, maybe, like, earlier, roughly, like, kind of when, like, Judge was coming in, but more accurately in the 2023-2024 season, when I think the rule changes and that came, they emphasize these emphasize speed, agility, and defensive range. So I just think now the players that are coming in are adapting to that, and we're we're seeing a resurgence of the athleticism for the MLB player. So, it's a good sign to see. Obviously, you know, playing baseball isn't easy. You got to hit a ball coming at you 100 miles per hour. And obviously these baseball players could do it. For me personally, I don't even think I could hit a 50-mile fastball coming at me. So, that's an amazing thing to do. And, I think the MLB is taking that leap to kind of bring back athleticism, and it's just a good thing to see. Overall, these athletes in the sport are showing what they could do, for their team in an athletic manner. Whether it doesn't have to be, it could be strength, it could be agility, it could be speed or whatever the case may be. Like for example, Jazz is good at sealing bases. And I think when you seal a base, that attests to your speed. You know what I mean? And also IQ, but also speed too. Like you got to get to that base. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think athleticism is for sure back in the MLB. So guys, home team, let me know what you guys think about Shohei as a player. Do we take him for granted, as well as do you guys think athleticism is back in the MLB? And to end it off, as always, home team, we gotta end it off on a high note. As always, is your favorite segment, co-star. Where's the contract at? But elevated advice, and my elevated advice to you guys is fear is not love. And wow. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think fear and love are two opposite ends of the spectrum. I think when you place fear into somebody, it's like a form of like you're intimidating somebody. I don't think there's no love and fear. I don't think you don't see those two kind of emotions being driven to, kind of intertwining. Um, and you know, overall, if you love somebody, that there will never be no sign of fear there. Fear to either one communicate with them or for them to communicate back to you. So I just think like this is 100% accurate. Fear is not love. And love is not fear. They I think fear kind of coincides with hate. I feel like when you hate somebody, you could have some sort of fear of them or whatever the case may be. But when you love somebody, there's no sign of fear. There's a lot of reverence and happy thoughts, happiness and overall just genuine positive energy that's associated with that. And I don't think you get that with fear. I think when people fear you, they really they might respect you. Like for example, like the thing is like, oh, MJ, people feared MJ, but nobody loved MJ. That's the thing. Like, there's a lot of his teammates who didn't really necessarily love him, but they feared him because of how competitive he was. And granted, like, I'm not saying like, fear in that realm, I guess, could be a positive thing because you're winning. But overall, like, I think, yeah, there's just like they're just on two opposite ends of the spectrum. So yeah, that's like kind of like my like kind of breakdown of it. Home team, drop in the comments what you guys think, as well as your own elevated advice for the community that we're building here. But yeah, home team, it's always been a pleasure chopping it up with you guys. You can find us on YouTube every Thursday, 6 p.m. for all my people on the East Coast, 3 p.m. for all my people on the West Coast. Subscribe, hit the bell. As always, stay locked in with us. And as always, until next time, I'll see you guys on the flip side. I'll catch y'all.